Good evening and welcome to Empowering Women to Stand, the relaunch. I'm Pat Middleton. I have with me here Margie McLean, and we are kicking off the relaunch of Empowering Women to Stand with a 5-part series on domestic violence. Margie will be with me for part 1 and part 2, and I'm so excited to have her here, and I'm excited to have you, listening audience, and those watching on Facebook and YouTube as well. We will be airing every Wednesday night in the month of October at 8 p.m. You can listen on Facebook Live, my page, Margie's page, our YouTube channels, which we'll give you at the end of this session, and also 800 AM, live streaming, WTMRradio.com. And WTMR is also available on the Odyssey, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio mobile apps. Lastly, we also have our own mobile app, WTMR Beasley Media Group. Just put that in the search bar of your Google Play Store and you'll find us there. All right, so we're going to get started with just a little brief history of empowering women to stand. My mother, Phyllis Nicholson Middleton, has gone on to be with the Lord in January of 2022, but in October of 2006, after she retired for the third time, she started a ministry called Empowering Women to Stand, and her vision statement was empowering, encouraging, and enriching the lives of women who have gone through hardship and heartache to believe in themselves and forge through their difficulties. And from 2006 until the Lord called her home, she did just that. Her mission was to empower women to stand. And although she was a missionary, she wanted this ministry to be community-based. So it was not done through the church, it was done through the community. And that was something that she was very passionate about. And so some of the pictures that you see here, just starting with this top one, we had a domestic violence open mic one year in Cherry Hill. Here is the last in-person the black and white, the last in-person meeting we had in 2021 in March, in 2019 in March at the Holiday Inn in Cherry Hill. Down here in purple was a conference we had at my church. She did have some things at the church, but it was more, we used the building. And then the last picture on the bottom right was a turkey giveaway in the city of Camden, New Jersey. So her passion for women and their children extended to homeless drives, to back to school drives, and to raising money and resources to donate to the domestic violence shelter that she was a part of for many years, and just women that she would meet one-on-one that God would lead her to minister to and to help. And so I praise God for the push to relaunch and for the yes from my dear sister Margie McLean of the Margie McLean Foundation, who is with me on tonight. So, Margie, thanks for being with me. How are you doing?
First, thank you for allowing me to come on. I am doing very well. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to come on to your podcast and speak with you.
I'm appreciative as well. One of the last ministries that my mother supported before God called her home was your platform, your podcast, your panel that you do every year, or
Mhm.
some years when Love Hits Home, which is your domestic violence, one of the many, and we're going to get into them, missions that you have. And certainly my mother loved to meet and support women who were empowering women to stand. And that's something that you were doing. And that was in October of 2021. And 3 months later, God called her home. So she was certainly a part of that one of the last things she did outside of her
Mhm.
church and her ministry was to pop in on your panel and give you that
Mhm.
support and that love. So I'm just glad you're here. And let's just jump right on in. I just want to introduce officially Margie McLean, MED, I probably said that wrong, of Chemistry Growth Mindset, one of her many ministries. And she'll tell you a little about herself as this interview begins. Margie, why don't you take 30 seconds to a minute and just introduce yourself in your own words to our listening audience?
Well, my name is Margie McLean. I am originally from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I am a mentor and an educator. I've been into education for 21 years now, and started mentoring once I started teaching. Saw where young ladies needed a mentor and also our young men, and so started groups called Ladies Equality, and we started mentoring young ladies. Once I had moved to Virginia, um I noticed that they needed it there as well, and so we just kind of that's where really where Marge McLean Foundation was born was in Virginia. And so we have been doing a lot here, coming back here in either the Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina area. So I'm gonna wait until you get into asking me questions about Marge McLean before I get into it. But
Okay, okay.
yeah, so the Lord has just been blessing as far as the many things that He put in my hand to do. And it's so many that I just can't keep up myself. I know you can't keep up, but I can't keep up. So yeah, so that's a little bit
Well,
about myself.
he blesses you to do it because you're doing it. So
Oh, yeah.
he gives us the push.
Hmm.
So I want to start with how long has the Margie McLean Foundation been in existing and what is the vision and the mission behind it? How did it get started?
Yeah, so started creating programs around 2004. Really wasn't birthed at that time, but again, like I said, I was starting to mentor young ladies in the North Carolina area. In 2014, I created additional programs that expanded to Virginia and Maryland. And then that's when this became the Marge McLean Foundation. So we started off with about 15 young ladies that grew to a social friendship, social club, teaching kids about interpersonal personal skills, and actually helping them with their future. And we have inspired over about 500 young ladies since 2014, or 2004, really. Our mission has changed a little bit, as of
Okay.
course we grow and see what the needs are in our community. But our mission is to deliver resources and support that enhance academic achievement, financial stability, and holistic well-being for our youth and their families while promoting strong community engagement, because we definitely want our youth and the families to be engaged within the community. Our vision is to empower economically, mentally, and also again being active within the community. And so we are looking to achieve, for our families to achieve that academic success, financial independence, living a healthy life, and being able to grow and bring our community together, which is what's needed right now.
Truly, truly, truly. So you are past the 20-year mark,
Yes,
22 years of
yes.
doing this. Now, your backdrop is highlighting one of your other missions or companies, organizations, Chemistry Growth Mindset.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So functional growth mindset is just what it is. It's just changing the life or transforming individuals' mind to be able to do more. A lot of times, we look at some endeavors that we may be interested in or some things that we want to do, but we just don't know where to start. Sometimes we don't know that we have the strength to be able to do it. So here I am to coach you, ask
Mm-hmm.
what it is that you need done. And so we want to unlock that potential. We want to ignite their passion and embrace the transformation. So we want to make sure that we transform individuals' minds to say, I think I can too. I can do it. So
One of your other youth-driven initiatives is the Reading Rainbow Initiative, Story Time with Miss Margie. Where did that come from, and how often do you do that? And that extends beyond your local assembly, I think, your local area, I should say.
yes, yes.
Yeah, how did that come about? Because I remember reading Rainbow when I was growing up. Is that connected? Are you like a chapter of that organization, or is this something different?
So I'm not a chapter of that organization, but that is one of the things that inspired me because that's what I grew up on reading. And we, being an educator, our kids are reading below level. How it started was when we became quarantined and our children were not going to school. No education. The school system didn't know what to do, so our kids was just home. A lot of our kids didn't know how to handle being home because school sometimes is their way of getting away from the things that happen in the home. They had their friends. So what I decided to do was to ask authors who have children books to come on and read to kids, and just start
Oh,
that online. And it was funny because the first year that I did it, or the first month I did it, was a lot of people that came on from different states. And I did a book giveaway. Whoever came on first, and a young man came on and he won the book. And then when he gave me his address, it was the UK. And so I'm like, okay, maybe and I said, excuse me,
wow.
that's right. And it was like, yes, I'm in the UK. So we had a student who was from the UK. I'm pretty sure they probably outgrown me now. And then it just started to spread out from South Carolina to states around the country. And then it started expanding to Liberia. And we had some students from Maldives. And I have a young lady that come on now. She's in Canada. She's been hanging in there with me. I've been watching her grow. So I call her my niece. And so I'm so excited about that. We have actually touched the lives of kids in 11 countries now.
Whoa, that
Yes.
is so commendable. You are surely empowering not just women to stand, but children,
Yes.
uh, boys and girls, and young adults as well. Well done, well done. And we haven't even, I mean, listening audience and those watching on social media, we haven't even touched the surface of what this young woman has been doing. Did I mention she's an author, two-time author so far?
Yes.
And right now, let me just plug her Amazon page while I'm talking. It's not on my list of questions, but I'm going to plug it anyway. Amazon.com/author slash Margie, Margiey, McLean, McLean. And you can check out her two books there, Turn Your Passion into a Paycheck, and For the Love of Me, a 30-day self-love journal. Now, let me spend the remainder of this particular episode. We're coming back next week with part two with Margie, but
Hmm.
I want to make sure that I take some time to just talk about your mission for domestic violence and also domestic violence in general. It is October 1st. October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It started in 1981, and many people do many things year round, not just in October, but in October, we sort of highlight some of the programs and some of the resources that are available
Hmm.
for those that are going through it, those that are advocates. And so I just want to take a moment and just give you, people who are listening, If you don't know it, the definition, the legal definition for domestic violence, it is domestic abuse, also called domestic violence, or most recently, it's also called intimate partner violence. It's defined as a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. And a lot of times, before I had my training and certification, and I'm sure others can attest, I thought it was all about the violence.
Mm-hmm.
But there are such things as emotional abuse, financial abuse, spiritual abuse. Abuse comes in all different facets. The key is power and control, using either violence or the threat of violence, or withholding finances, or other things to maintain power and control over an intimate partner. And
Mm-hmm.
we, as well as many others, uh, are advocates for, sharing information. I make sure that I share my testimony. When my mother was here, part of empowering women to stand, she did use that her platform to share beyond her job, because she worked in a domestic violence shelter as a children and parent advocate, but she also ministered to women outside of the workplace in many different facets and shared her story of survival. I share mine as well, as a child growing up in a domestic violence household. In addition, as a young adult in an abusive relationship as well. So I'm a two-time survivor. To God be the glory. And just following in my mother's footsteps,
Man.
watching her give back, the ultimate give back, and
Yes.
just following in her footsteps and wanting to do the same. And so, Margie, tell us about your platform, When Love Hits Home. How did you come up with that title? How long have you been doing it? What was the inspiration behind it? And what exactly is it, When Love Hits Home?
So when we look at the whole family, and I think about trying to work with families, we want to look at the whole picture of what families are going through. And a lot of times we think, single mom or single father, home, poverty or what so have you, but we don't never kind of dive into the epidemic of domestic violence. And I say it's an epidemic. Um,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and so, I think about when I first started teaching, how I saw a young lady. She was dating a young man in high school, and he was very controlling. And it just kind of did something for me, because I do something for teen dating violence too. And I'm just like, young, this is not um healthy. And even see it in elementary. When I was teaching elementary school, I saw the same thing in elementary
Oh,
as young as fifth grade. And it was just like,
mm,
talking to a young lady, telling her, baby, this is not it. Um, the things that I'm seeing is red flags, and you just couldn't tell us, but this is fifth grade. And so, with that being said, I decided to start doing just bringing on those who have dealt with domestic violence or either saw domestic violence in the home to come on and just talk about it, about that topic. And I call it When Love Hits Home, because of course in the home we think this man loves us, and sometimes we think if
mm,
he hits us, he loves us. And
mm,
so that's why I called it When Love Hit Home, playing on words.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so with that being said, the first panel was really, really good. I believe you was on my first panel. And just to hear the stories, and then it really got emotional because some of our panelists, family members, came on to listen. And some of those stories was the first time their family members had heard it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, I mean, we literally had to take a pause with a family, because this was the first time that they heard that their daughter and their sister had went through all of these things that they went through. um, and the signs was there. And then to hear that mom had went through some of that, or the sister had went through some of that, and it was just like it's a family dynamic, type
Mm-hmm.
thing. From there, we started talking, and I want to say the second panel turned into what was supposed to be on. I think it was only supposed to be one time, And it just turned in. I think your mom and another young lady came on, an older lady came on to talk about how they was dealing with it, and they was
Oh,
in
yes,
church.
Mother
Remember that?
Lewis.
And
Yes.
Sister Lou, she came on and she started talking about her being a first lady going through it, and who did she talk to. So that became my second. And then as we was talking there on the second go round, I think the second one was what are the red flags? And
Mm-hmm.
then a young lady from Australia was on, and she
Oh,
mentioned about what parents go through with their kids. And I think someone had talked about, and I think I had one where the kids came on to talk about what they went through and how it was for them to see their parents. So I think we turned
yeah.
into about five different series, five
Yeah,
different panels, I
yeah.
believe, in one. And so I just decided to keep it going, because it's
Mm-hmm.
always like a layer. As we were talking, it was like an onion, and it was like a layer that was coming
Mm-hmm.
off, and it was like, man, some of this I just never even thought about. Even the part where parents are being abused by their children, us growing up,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't think
Mm-hmm.
nothing like that. But yeah, so it's been interesting for me. And I love the fact that it is not where I just talk to the women, I just have you on my panel. Now we have became like a sisterhood, and we talk to each other. And now I have a new
Mm-hmm.
friend. And so it was very interesting. Yeah. And I think it was pretty good for all of you.
Yes, it was. And one thing that you kept saying, we kept talking about it. We're talking about, and
Hmm.
this is what we're doing. This is the I think the universal theme for domestic violence awareness, breaking
Hmm.
the silence surrounding domestic violence. When mothers don't share their stories with the daughters, and the daughters don't share their stories with the mothers,
Yeah.
how do as a daughter, how do we know if it happened? Like my daughter, for instance, this happened before she was born, the relationship I was in. So I have to share with her in order for her to know, because she didn't grow up in the household with the violence. It was a relationship I had prior. So the more we talk about it, take down the walls and be vulnerable to share our stories with our sisters, our mothers, our aunts, our daughters, our girlfriends, then that's breaking the silence. And every time you tell your testimony, you're helping another person. Of course, there is a lot of shame that goes along with being a survivor. I don't like to use the word victim, but
Yes.
there is shame. I know I spent decades being embarrassed and ashamed because I grew up in a domestic violence household, but yet
Hmm.
my first relationship, I ran right into the arms of an
Right into it.
abuser.
Yes. Hmm.
And so for years, I didn't tell anybody because I was
Hmm.
ashamed. Not until I had my certification and my training and some counseling did I realize I didn't know the signs. Growing
Hmm.
up in a household, you hear the end result, but you don't know the early signs, that the warning
Right.
signs that we talk about: the isolation, the extreme jealousy, possessiveness, the stalking, the
Hmm.
separation,
Hmm.
intimidation, and threats. We don't see any of that. And so a lot of
Hmm. Hmm.
times that shame keeps us from telling our stories as well. But we gotta break the ice somehow. And programs like yours, like my mother's that I'm trying to relaunch, Empowering Women to Stand, and Margie McLean Foundation, and When Love Hits Home, and
Hmm.
programs like ours and so many others aid in breaking the silence. And that's
Hmm.
the number one way to um to get help to someone. um and then there's so many resources out there, free resources,
Yes.
shelters, and out, what do they call them, where you don't have to go into a shelter but you can go in and out for help. I can't remember the name of it, but it escapes me now. But there's so many resources, free legal
Yes.
resources,
Yes.
um, uh, just available. Just want to pause again to say that if anyone is watching, if anyone is listening, and or you yourself is in an abusive relationship and you want help or just information or just
Yes.
resources, then the national hotline is 800-799-7233. It's
Hmm.
1-800-799 7233. That
Mhm.
is any city, any state in the country, and you can get help. You can also text "Love Is" to 77054, and help is right at your fingertips. And you can inbox Margie or myself. We can help you
Mhm.
no matter what state you're in. We'll get you where you need to be.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about, sharing the resources. If I don't know, I'm gonna find somebody who does, and they're gonna get the help for you. And so, as we close, we got 4 or 5 more minutes. I want to ask Margie. I lost my place here on here,
It's
but
fine.
just 1 second here. My fingertips walk so fast. I mean, move so fast. Okay. So there's something else that you do. You mentioned it. I think you mentioned that you help single parents, but there's another little bright spot like the Reading Rainbow. There's this wonderful initiative that you have called the Bundle of Joy Community Baby Shower.
Yes, yes,
Please let
yes.
us talk about that. How did that all start? What is it? What is it?
It started with again, it started with the youth, and I was, having children or kids, I call them my babies, who are
Mm-hmm.
pregnant and they don't have help. And so what I decided to do was to do where I'll be able to give out materials for those young ladies or men who possibly need items to get them started. So what we decided to do was to I kind of research to see what a community baby shower would be like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw where it was more like you are going in, they just come in and they pick up things. So I decided to just have a full on baby shower. And
Oh.
we had the first one at the library. It was funny because I didn't have much. I had people to donate clothes and things. I remember I was laughing with someone because we started off with a backdrop that was just made out of the wrapping paper for baby showers,
Mm-hmm.
but it has grown from about we now have about 50 to 80 parents who come through now, a different
Wow.
theme.
Yeah.
We bring the resources to the family, so not only do you come and have a baby shower, we get the fathers involved because I want to make sure that we dispel that myth that fathers, especially our Black fathers, are not in the homes, and they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, they're supporting, but we also bring community resources because I don't know all the resources here in this city. However, I don't. It would be good to have that. So, last year we had someone that was a home, a rental teaching, letting the young ladies know that they can purchase a home. It's okay. We had some life insurance representative, and then we had a massage therapist there.
Oh,
We had the
good
class.
grief. That's
We had
good.
line dancing. We was having a good time. And so every year the organizations look forward to coming. Like they already asking, when is it? When we're gonna have it? Where you gonna have it? What's the theme for? Some different themes. So last year or this year, it was carnival style. So it was
Oh,
so much fun. Yeah. So
that
I think
sounds
this,
so nice.
yeah, it was so much fun. But when I say my second one I had, we had a young lady who had not registered, and her friend called me and said, "Hey, I have my friend didn't register, but she really needs some stuff." I said, "Well, we already had bought for all of the parents already, but just tell her to come anyway. We may
Mm-hmm.
have something." So when she came, I don't know if the address was wrong. We didn't have all the parents come, and so the young lady ended up leaving with, I mean, bags of stuff, everything. And
Mm.
she stopped me and she said, "I thank you so much," because I was gonna let that be my last one. We get discouraged sometimes when it's not as big as
Yes.
we want it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not
Yes.
doing this again. But she said, "Thank you so much. I just got out of I was in foster home, got out. I do not have family, and this is the first and only baby shower that I will have for my baby."
Wow.
And that did something for me. So I was
Look
like,
at
this is a
God.
need.
Mm-hmm.
This is a need. So
Mm-hmm.
I do it every year now. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And we're to go into the hedges and the highways and compel them to come. But if
Mm-hmm.
you don't address the natural need first,
Yeah.
sometimes
Yes.
they don't even have the attention span to
Mm-hmm.
hear your
Mm-hmm.
witness, to hear the gospel. Even Jesus fed the people before
Yes.
he ministered to them. So
Mm-hmm.
the needs that you are meeting through the Margie McLean Foundation, all of these different programs that you have are meeting the needs of the community. And I just
Mm-hmm.
want to commend you and thank you. And this is only part one. This is only part one. How can
Mm-hmm.
we give to the Margie McLean Foundation if we want to donate? That's my
So
last question before we go.
yes, you can donate via Cash App, which is Margie Mac Foundation.
Okay,
Um,
so that's MARGIE
MC
MC
and then
Foundation.
Foundation. Yep.
Okay. So
Yes.
that's okay. So that's to donate. And then again, for our listening audience and watching audience, her Amazon page for the two books that she has so far, amazon.com/Margie, MARGIEY, McLean, MCLEAN. And you can find her Amazon page and her two books, one on self love care and the other on entrepreneurship for young people, turning your
Yes.
passion into a paycheck. So
Hmm.
that's going to do it for this part one episode, our interview with Margie. And every time I say your last name, I say McLean, I say McLean, but I'm please forgive me. I keep trying to make myself
McLean.
remember it's McLean, not McLean.
McLean. Mm-hmm.
But charge it to my head and not my heart, as they say. We'll be back next week with part two of our interview with Margie McLean. Thank you so much for listening, for watching Empowering Women to Stand with Pat Middleton and our special guest, Margie. Thank you. And until next week, I'm signing off. Be blessed, be encouraged, and believe.